What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets React, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction. So excited about this video. If you're new to us
and we're new to you,
make sure you scroll down,
hit that subscribe button,
and turn on the post notification bell
because we're on the road to 200K.
And we cannot get there without you guys, alright? Join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Let's get it.
You look like when you got your first laugh on stage.
So keep in mind, the first laugh I got on stage was when I was 10 years old.
Really?
Yeah, like earlier I said, I did a school talent show, went up on stage, and I started doing these impressions. So as a 10-year-old, think of a 10-year-old
Yes.
doing impressions of Mickey Mouse, Ronald Reagan, Pee Wee Herman, who was in his prime at that time. And so when I went up on stage to do this show, I didn't really understand what stand-up comedy was. I'm a 10-year-old kid and I just did impressions. But the impressions were so close that the people were like, oh my God, this 10-year-old kid is nailing these impressions. So I'm up there doing, you know, freaking Pee Wee Herman. You know, like a 10-year-old, right now it looked weird, but a 10-year-old doing that is like phenomenal. And then Ronald Reagan, well, Nancy, basically we had, you know, so a 10-year-old doing that was like, and then I did Bill Cosby. I won't do the impression now because, but at 10 years old, I was killing. And so it was one of those things where like, all right.
And you
I remember my mom, my brother, and my sister-in-law being in the audience. It was only the three of them in the crowd. And then when I went out there, and I did the impressions, and the crowd, they just applauded. And I didn't know what the reaction was supposed to be. I didn't know, are they supposed to laugh? I didn't know what to expect. So when I went out there and I did the characters and the voices, and they're just applauding this and that, and then at the end, when I said, thank you, good night, and people started standing up and they're applauding, and I'm like, I didn't know that that's like, that I didn't realize at that moment that audience understood what they were watching. And I don't want to sound arrogant, but the crowd knew what I was doing before I knew what I was doing.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah. That's facts. That's
and
facts.
in hindsight, because I've been back to my elementary school, I've been back to that theater, I've been back to that room, and I realized like, wow, that moment, like, who knew?
You were hooked.
I was very much hooked. I was very hooked. I remember sitting at home with my friend watching Def Comedy Jam on Saturday nights. And we would just, because that was the only comedy, or that, or BET's Comedy
View.
BET's Comedy View and Def Comedy Jam was what I would watch growing up. That's what I understood. That's what I gravitated towards. There was no shows to showcase or feature Latinos, Mexicans, people that like. This was the closest thing. This was the closest thing because it wasn't an evening at the Improv. It wasn't, you know, any of these other shows that were out there. It was very, very much like close to me. It was very urban, very hood, very like, I get that.
Because that's my point. That's my next way. And look, got a few on. Who is your inspiration? Because I mean, are there like if you're black, you have Eddie Murphy, and you go back to Pryor, and you go back to some of these old guys, and you come forward, and the white guys you come back with Jack Benny, and you come back with Carson, and you all those guys. So in the Hispanic community, who did Gabriel Iglesias?
You know what? During that time, you gotta figure there wasn't really any form of real representation for Latinos.
I want to speak on that real quick because I think that's important for people who are trying to discover who they are in the field that they want to work in. Because if you want to do something, you're inspired by the mass, right? Everybody's doing this like, oh, this is relatable. I can do this. This kind of fits what my characteristics is. But there's nobody doing it. That's me.
Right.
So a lot of times we miss the idea, and I learned this early, like the second I was walking through the door, that I have to be my own representation. And I feel like when you realize that, you go faster instead of taking it slowly, trying to figure out who can I watch that can help me see me.
Yeah.
Because representation, matters. It matters.
Yeah, and you have to trust yourself.
Yeah.
You're not meant to be like anybody else. You're not meant to
That's big.
follow into what anybody else is doing. You have to trust that you have something special.
Facts.
And walk in that. Nobody else is you. Nobody else can do it like you.
See that little finger?
Yeah, that's a little finger.
All those guys. So in the Hispanic community, who did Gabriel Iglesias?
You know what? During that time, you gotta figure there wasn't really any form of real representation for Latinos. A lot of Latinos, from what I remember, were gravitated towards Martin Lawrence and Martin. We would watch Martin. Martin was like a staple.
Yeah.
Like, oh
Yeah.
my God, this show's
Martin's
so
hard.
good. And I love the fact that we're talking about this now because I just met Martin Lawrence a week ago.
Really?
I met Martin Lawrence a week ago.
That's crazy.
I felt like, it's rare for me to meet someone and geek the f out to the point where I'm like, oh shit. It felt weird for me to talk to him because I just wanted to tell him how impactful his show, his presence, what he did on Def Jam, and what he did in his specials meant to me. Because it's like, like I remember watching his shows on the weekend, and it's just like back when I was a kid, and it was so huge, and so to meet him, I didn't want to be that's like that overwhelming person that's like
You did.
Shit, but I did. I geeked out. Shannon, I geeked out hard. I geeked out hard with him. But yeah, like we don't really have somebody that we could gravitate towards and be like, this is our person, this is who is, So for me, watching D.L. Hughley doing Comic View,
Yep.
watching Martin Lawrence do Def Jam, and it was always one of those things where it's like, okay, there's Martin Lawrence doing Def Jam on the weekends, and there's D.L. Hughley doing Comic View during the week. And it was one of those things where it's like, which one are you? Are you Comic View? Are you Comic View or are you Def Jam? And you're like, ah! And then I started doing stand-up. And then I got an opportunity to go do Comic View. And I'm like, holy
that's crazy.
shit.
Yeah.
It was so huge. I remember I was at the Normandy Casino and here in LA. And the host that year, because they changed hosts. The host was Ronaldo Ray.
Ronaldo Ray, yeah.
Everybody, this is Ronaldo Ray. And I just remember, I'm like, I went out there on stage and I had I had a great, and I don't want to toot my own horn, but I had a great show. And I just remember like, wow, I'm on Comic View. It was so awesome. I never enjoyed that $150 more. Because that's what they paid you.
That's right.
That's all they paid you back then. There was no residuals, no nothing. And I remember there was a whole argument back then, like, oh, they're not paying residuals, they're not paying SAG, they're not paying after. I'm like, we're doing a show in a casino. Be happy that you're on TV.
Right.
That's another thing, Shannon, that I feel like a lot of times these comics would get in a place where they made it more about the money than the actual craft. They
That's another
focus
thing.
more on like,
That's another
am I
thing.
getting...
Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay. They got bigger than the program.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Bigger than the
When
program.
you could do something that you love and not worry about the money, that's when you know that's your gift, that's your purpose. But when you doing something just for the money, you ain't gonna be doing it long.
On TV. That's another thing, Shannon, that I feel like a lot of times these comics would get in a place where they made it more about the money than the actual craft. They focus more on like, am I getting SAG? Am I getting AFTRA? Am I getting scale? Am I getting paid what I'm supposed to be getting paid?
Right.
They focus more on that more than, hey man, how many people are gonna see this clip? How many people are gonna see this show? How many people are gonna get what I'm doing right now? A lot of times the comics get wrapped up more in the money, and I feel like The best advice someone told me early on was don't worry about the money. Work on your craft, the money will come.
Yeah.
And I still feel like that still is the thing. If you're more focused on the money, then you're not, you don't really give about what the thing that is you're doing.
Want to join Club Shay
But
Shay?
we're gonna stop right there, man. That's a couple things you can strip from that. Like even not just the money. Some people focus on who can I help once I get all the money. Who can I help once I start walking through these doors? How can my lifestyle change completely? What locations can I start going to once I start to, get on this type of journey? And some people really just focus on, like he was mentioning, their craft. And I know what he was going to say next. He's going to say that if you continuously work on your craft and not the focus on the money, you're going to always get the money because you're focusing on your craft.
Right.
But if you start focusing on the money, then you start to become what the money is dressing you up to be. You start try to be that person, and then your craft slowly disappears.
Right. And especially when you first starting off into something new, it don't just have to be about comedians. But when you're first starting off on something, if you only doing it for the money, you're going to find that those opportunities start to get slim.
Ooh,
Okay.
Yeah.
So that separates the amateur from the person who really wants this thing. Oh, that's the end, huh?
That's the end.
All right, y'all. We hope you guys enjoyed this video with us. Be sure to subscribe. We'll see you soon.
Peace.